Hey guys, I briefly mentioned the case of missing Neil Skinner in my live stream this morning, so I want to talk about Neil's case. The last two where is cases that I've covered are in Scotland, close to Scottish lochs, which are notoriously deep and notoriously dangerous. And Neil's case is another one that involves a Scottish loch, but it's unclear whether the loch itself is involved in Neil's disappearance. That said, the dive team beneath the surface, who come from my neck of the woods actually, they've been doing searches for another case that I covered in the Where Is series, that of Reese Roger, who I talked about the other day. And this coming weekend, Beneath the Surface are heading back up to Scotland as part of a volunteer land search for Neil Skinner. Neil Skinner has been missing for just over a year whilst hiking and camping in the area of Loch Dochard. His tent and his belongings were located, set up by the loch, but there's no sign of Neil, and he hasn't been seen or heard from since. And they are appealing for experienced hikers, only experienced hikers, because this is an incredibly remote area. So I'd not heard of Neil's case before. Beneath the Surface publicised it, but I've looked up his case on the Police Scotland website, and the last update was in November of last year. So police in Argyll have renewed an appeal for missing walker Neil Skinner, the 71-year-old from Doncaster in Yorkshire. So he's not from Scotland, he was there camping with friends and to do a spot of fishing. So he was last seen walking in the area of Loch Dochard near Bridge of Orkney, which is a village. Like, there is an actual bridge, but this is a village. I'll show you the map in a minute. Despite extensive searches and police inquiries, Neil remains missing and has not been found. Inspector Neil Hutchison said, "This has been an incredibly distressing 6 months for Neil's family, and we have remained in contact with them throughout. They would like Neil to be found, and I will continue to urge anyone who may have information or any knowledge of Neil to get in touch. Anyone who was walking in the area around the time or since who believes they may have seen anything out of the ordinary to let us know so we can follow it up. Any new information received will continue to be investigated fully, and anyone with information is asked to contact police on 101, quoting reference 3775 of 9th of May 2022. And, the family are just distraught that their dad is just gone. He's just gone and he's not been found, and it's an extremely remote area. This article from STV News gives us a little bit more detail about the location. So there's Neil there with family members. So the family of a man who has been missing in Argyll for 10 months. So this was a couple of months ago. He's been missing for just over a year now. Neil Skinner was last seen on Sunday, May 8th, 2022, whilst camping. Friends found his tent and trekking poles the following day, but there's been no sign of the 71-year-old since. In a bid to try to find him, his family are now planning an extensive search of the area between May 27th and May 29th, so that's this weekend. "We are wanting to try and find new areas," Neil's daughter Kate Harmitage said. "Had Dad gone further than we'd ever imagined? He hasn't got the best sense of direction, and he's been known to get lost. It's just looming over me every day of my life, this huge question mark, and I can't move forward properly with my life without knowing what happened to my dad." The hike is being organised with the help of underwater sonar search and recovery dive team Beneath the Surface, as we've already talked about, looking for experienced hikers to take part in some or all of the search, which will involve hiking and camping in the area of Loch Dochard. Neil's family will also be putting up posters on the route, as well as placing a memorial plaque near where he was last seen. "To me, there's got to be an answer. Somebody doesn't just disappear. He is somewhere. Something happened to him," Kate said. Now, this is where the map comes in. So, Mr. Skinner was captured on CCTV on May the 7th at the Greenwelly stop in Tydrum. So that's the day before he was last seen. He and his friends then parked their car at Victoria Bridge before hiking 6 miles to the banks of Loch Dochard. Right, so let's get the map out here. So this is the little tiny village of the Bridge of Argyll. So it's just a few houses really, but the place is named after the bridge, which is here, which goes over the river. So that's the area. So there's Tydrum where he was seen on CCTV. So kind of coming up this way. And then if we go a little bit west, we get to here, which is Loch Dochart. So it's only a small-ish loch. So they were camping around this area, but they'd parked their vehicles. So he was with friends. They parked their vehicles at Victoria Bridge, which is here. So he was safe and well when he got Victoria Bridge. So there was a hike. So he hiked this with friends. So you can go across there. So that side of the river. And walk through the woods to the loch and down. Alright, so to there. Or you can go the other way, you can walk through those woods. So it's this general area. Now this is a 6-mile hike. Alright, from Victoria Bridge to the loch. But he did that with friends. Alright, so the next day they set off for Loch Etive. But about 90 minutes later he turned back for the campsite because the hike was too much for him. So they set off west to go to this big loch, this huge loch here, which is Loch Etive or Etive, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. So this big long thing loch here. So he's gone from here to here. So very rugged terrain. Typical Scottish terrain, very, very rugged. Impossible to really see how rugged this really is. They'll have gone from here along here, and then we're heading towards the loch. I mean, look, it's just expanse of mountains, and it's yes, they were coming to this place here, so they could have been going around that way, I guess, rather than going over the mountains. Yeah, they've probably gone this way, I would think. Around the flat, because there does seem to be a path. Yeah, okay, so they must have gone this way. But an hour and a half into this walk, which would have been quite a few miles, he turned back for the campsite because the hike was too much for him. So he turned back. So he got 1.5 hours from the loch they were camping at, which is around here. So how far could he have walked in an hour and a half? Along here or around this other route? And he's turned back. So did he get back to the loch? Presumably he did. Did they leave their tents there to go for this walk? To go fishing at this big loch? Did they leave their tents there? But his trekking poles were there. So it leads me to believe he did make it back. And then what happened to him? Now, the walk was too much for him. So he was obviously maybe feeling his age or feeling unwell maybe. So did he feel that unwell? Did he try to get help somewhere? But there's, you know, this is just rugged, very, very barren, sparse country in many places, and then you've got this kind of wooded area here. So there's a lot of places to search if you are in the area and you are an experienced hiker. If you can't make it to the organised event at the weekend, then maybe go out on your own and organise your own search party for him, but only if you're used to that terrain. It's unforgiving terrain. He's got to be somewhere. He's got to either be in one of these valleys, in the water. I don't know that he's in the water. They are concentrating on land searches. And there's wooded areas. Now, it's not vastly wooded, but there are wooded areas here, like you can see, quite an expansive wooded area. Did he get lost? Did he head towards the woods? But if you're in the area, please, please, please don't put yourself at risk. But if you're used to hiking in that terrain, please do make sure that you remember Neil. Have him in your thoughts. This is Neil. His family just want him home. They want answers. They want to know where Neil is and to bring him home to his family. All right, guys, let me just repeat the contact information. If you have any information at all for the police, call 101, quoting reference 3775 of the 9th of May. That's all for now. Bye, guys.